It's Chris and Des Show. I'm Chris.
And I'm Des.
And today we're going to talk to you about the Harriet Tubman movie.
What is going on?
Harriet, starring Cynthia Erivo and Leslie Odom Jr. and Janelle Monáe. Des, what did you think?
Okay, so I'm going into this with admittedly not a lot of knowledge about Harriet Tubman, except that I know she led the Underground Railroad. I didn't realize that, I guess I just kind of assumed that she was already a slave, but I didn't realize that she freed herself. Like, she didn't get help with that she just... See, there's part of my question is how historically accurate is this movie? I don't know. If I just base it on this movie, I hope it is. I enjoyed this movie. Let's go back. This is a historical, it's a telling of the Harriet Tubman story from her perspective. And I was in 100% the whole time. I loved everything about it. I loved her character. I loved when she sang to get the people to come and we're gonna go. So she would just sing, "Go down, Moses," and Cynthia Erivo can sing, y'all. Capital S. She can sing, and so she would just sing out, and all the people start coming. It was so good, and the spiritual aspect to it, I was in completely. That she was, God was talking to her and leading her. I was 100% in for how effective she was and what she did and how she did it. I'd say yes, sir. And it was great. I loved it. I thought the performances were good. It took me out a little bit because of the Broadway connection with Leslie Odom Jr. I could say his name, it would help. So I already knew these actors going in. That took me out a little bit. But I loved it. I left that theater loving everything about and wanting to know more about Harriet Tubman. And I do want to know. I think I'm going to find a biography or something to read because I do need to know how accurate that movie was. And because she lived to a very old age. And so I think there's probably interviews out there of her words. Like, no one's speculating. She can absolutely say what happened. So hopefully that is out there for me to read. What did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. It was enjoyable the time I saw it. It is a little cheesy in times. And so that's the issue for me, is that it's not like... When I go see a movie like this, a historically based movie, maybe they were going... I think here's what I honestly think. I'm just going to be real for you a second. I think they were trying to be historically real, but
that's the question.
Cassie Lemons is just not that talented of a director. That sounds sad to say, but it's a direction is the problem. Is that at times it feels like this is kind of... My sister went and saw it with us too, and she's like, it kind of feels like a Lifetime movie version of Harriet Tubman's story. And if you know what that means, you know what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, first of all, I love Harriet Tubman. I love her story. And like Des, I think I want to read more and hear more about it. No. So I think if it just does that, brings attention to this amazing woman and the amazing stuff she did in the Civil War and before the Civil War and all that time period, then it's worth going seeing for that. And it is a good movie, and Cynthia Erivo gives a good performance. I know there was a lot of backlash at first when she was chosen because she's not from America. And so it was like, why don't we pick a black woman whose heritage is this, not this British lady come over, and then you weren't actually part of this. Because American slavery, even though Britain had slavery for a while, they ended it earlier than this. American slavery was its own perverted, gross thing. Yeah. And so how about somebody who knew that or whatever? But she does a really good job. She really does a good job. She is, and this is what I think I got a little bit, she is a stage actress.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can sometimes feel that in her portrayal of where Janelle Monáe feels different to me, and I am biased. I love Janelle Monáe, so I'm totally biased. I told Des, like, thank goodness we have Janelle Monáe. First, she saved the U.S. space program, then she saved that poor boy in Moonlight, and now she saved Harriet Tubman. Thank the Lord, Janelle Monáe is here saving everybody. Remember, we wouldn't have nothing. We would have nothing if it wasn't for Janelle Monáe. And she's just real good. And she
is good.
I thought her time in the movie was done, and then she has that end part of her scene where you're like,
ooh,
she's good. She's good in that part. And Leslie Odom Jr. is good too. Joe Alwyn, he was good too, but he is not a nice man. He's the guy who owns Harriet Tubman, the son.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about Leslie Odom Jr. I'm like, no, he's good.
He's not a nice man in this movie. But I loved Clark Peters too. He played her dad. And, he was so good. I thought he was fantastic. I wish we would have seen more of him. Yeah. And so there are some things, like Janelle Monáe's character is not a real person and was not a real figure in history. She was just made up to kind of like bring in a more detail of Philadelphia in that time, whatever. But it's good. It's good. That's what I should say. It's good. If you go see it, you will enjoy it. It's an enjoyable movie. And I think maybe that's what they're going for. An enjoyable version of the Harriet Tubman story. If it had been directed by Martin Scorsese, it would have been a little more real. If it had been directed by, I'm looking at these other directors, Quentin Tarantino, everyone, blood everywhere. There would have blood everywhere. I want that. And I don't necessarily want that per se. But I was thinking if, what's his name? If the guy who had directed, 12 Years a Slave had directed this movie, the feel, and maybe that's where my mind was going. Oh, we're going to get this type of movie about what slavery, like how bad slavery is, because it was bad, people.
Well, they show, like, they don't dwell on that part. Right. They don't dwell on the horror and the grit and they focus on the fleeing and the getting away, and even they stay with Harriet Tubman, who wasn't there, like, she left.
And so here's what I think. Maybe this is what I'm thinking. The parts about Harriet Tubman's life were good. The other parts about it, like what she's known for, the Underground Railroad part, to me, those were the parts, and it was like this montage with a Nina Simone song, which was a bad choice in song anyways, but a montage, which I like Nina Simone, but just didn't fit here, is like, and then in 2 seconds, like, and then these people were free, and then these people were free, and then these people were like, wow, that was so easy.
I definitely could have used more detail.
I don't think that was easy. I think in a way that diminishes how amazing she is, because it was hard to get these people hundreds of miles out of slavery. And this woman got, literally, after she did the whole raid and everything, it's hundreds of people out of slavery. That is a huge accomplishment. Maybe that's what I felt.
Would have loved to have, now that I think about it more, I would have loved to have seen more detail about how exactly the underground, like, they don't go into it. They just say, well, we did it for 100 miles, and then this law passed, and now we have to go all the way to Canada, and they
show them, like, on a boat, and this one guy's hay thing, but it's real quick, real easy. That was the part that was missing for me. So I'm going to say go, but realize that it's not 12 Years a Slave. It's not real and gritty about how bad it was there. And it's not about the journey per se. It's about who she was as a person. And that part is what succeeds. Maybe my expectations were different. I think that's what it was. That's our summary. I think you'd like it. Exactly. Go see it.
It is good.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.